Obviously, for a lot of folks, not for everybody, we have a broad spectrum of people of many ages, and many of our listeners and viewers, I think probably the majority don't have kids. I don't know. It's probably half and half, I would say. So a lot of people are thinking about teachers right now and remote learning. Like I say, I personally would have liked to have seen a situation where elementary school kids go full time, high school kids, middle school kids, fully remote. Obviously, kids with special needs who might have a more difficult time learning remotely go full time in the schools. You use those extra schools, blah, blah, blah. You know, if I'm ever mayor or governor or president during the next pandemic, then that's what we'll get. But yes, there's a lot of talk about teaching and education. And the key is like, how do you, one of the hard parts about remote is like, how do you have this relationship between a teacher and a student? Because the education, according to educators that I've talked to anyways, is all about the dynamic between the teacher and the student. And if the student has a problem with this, the teacher teaches in a different way than they would with a different student who has a problem with that. It's a slight oversimplification.
There's a reason you have to have a master's degree to be a teacher.
Yeah, and it's not just a question of knowledge. It's a question of like the ability. It's almost like playing, pickup basketball. Like you got to read the situation and your training, you deploy, but you deploy your training in different ways in different contexts. Greg Gutfeld doesn't see it that way. Here he is on Fox, The Five, laying it out like, well, this is easy.
I think there's an opportunity here that is huge. Here's the big picture. Think about how nuts this is. Even before the pandemic, there are probably 130,000 teachers teaching the same algebra class. 130,000 of the same class every day. We do the Five once a day at 5 p.m. for 3.5 million people. What's nuts and what makes sense? We don't have 130,000 panels going around doing the exact same show wherever. We don't need this model anymore. It's not working. That's what Emily's talking about. It is revealing the corruption of this model. We could actually fundamentally change education right now using the pandemic. Treat it the way you don't make a million movies. You make one movie and you show it to a million people. We need to break the teachers' unions and embrace this innovation of remote learning and we could actually free the minds of a generation. I say it again and again. The first person to figure this out is going to be not a billionaire, but a trillionaire. Peloton did to the gym what we can do to brick and mortar schools. The person who gets there first, it's going to be bigger than me.
To his point, Greg Gutfeld's only like 5'5". So
the level of ignorance that he was able to capture there and to deliver with such passion, I think is genuinely impressive. The idea that like no one's had the idea that, wait, we could just have one person do a lecture and then everybody could learn from it, as if like that's what learning about geometry is. Like, first off, this is how you know, like, first, I don't know if Greg Gutfeld has kids, but if he does, I can guarantee you he sends them to a private school. Just because, why wouldn't he, right? Why wouldn't he? Ideologically, he obviously has this problem with all the teachers' union in schools. Now, why would you do that? Why would you even have private schools? If there is no difference, why not just record one private school teacher and just play the video the whole time? Because it's not effective, you moron. That's not what education is. There's a difference between watching a movie and learning an academic subject. Yes, you could go in and listen to lecture. You could have a lecture series and you can learn things from a lecture series. Generally, you want to be a little bit older because, people, young kids have tough time with lectures for an hour and then go to the next lecture for an hour. et cetera, et cetera. Maybe he has no children. I don't understand. I don't understand this level of ignorance because I think it's genuine. I think it's a genuine show of ignorance. He was so passionate about it that he couldn't have just been saying it and thinking like, because that's hard to do. That's hard to be that stupid and know that you're just pretending.
Well, this is Fox News we're talking about.
I know it. I think there are people who do that, but I'm giving him enough credit that it would be too hard for him to say something that dumb and know how stupid it was. I just think he's stupid. Let's give him credit.
I guess it doesn't matter that much at the end of the day, right? The old argument: are they stupid? Are they evil? The outcome's the same, folks. Also,
they're not mutually exclusive,
right? People are making money off of privatizing education hand over foot. It's the process that's been going on for a very long time, and it does not have good outcomes for the children.
Absolutely. I mean, all you need to do is like just the idea that, maybe you can watch like a 5-minute video with a kid, first and second grader where the teacher's reading a book. But I'm sorry, it doesn't have anything to do with learning. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Like you remember when your teacher didn't feel like teaching class one day and just like put on a video for you to watch?
Well,
it would be like that those days. It would be like that every day. Sounds pretty good, actually.
Well,
it does.
In my situation, they had to wheel in a 16 millimeter projector. So it wasn't that was not an option.
Yeah. It does suck that the only way America can respond, the only people set up to respond to crisis in America are the most grasping people with money.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, this is disaster capitalism through and through.
I have an idea. Like for people who don't have, video or computer or high internet, high speed internet, you could actually take the lecture and have somebody write it down and then like figure out some device in which you could put on paper and show it to people. And that's the way people can learn.
Maybe a phonograph.